folks, and welcome to this video on advanced websites. In this video, we'll be looking at setting up the project you'll use for all of the lessons. So in this video, we'll download the files you need, create the website, create a database, and test everything works. To speed up getting started with this course, we've provided the basic web page and database for you. Therefore, our first task is going to be getting that content onto your personal web server. As with the previous course, we'll be using USB Web Server as our web server and as our database, so make sure that's running before you start. Once USB Web Server is running, go to the demonstration site at advancedwebsitedemo.learncoach.com. Here, you'll see the site you're going to start with. It's very similar to what you created in the intermediate course, although there are some changes and we'll look at those as we progress. Feel free to look around the pages and see how the site works. The home page gives you some basic instructions, but more importantly, it provides you with the files you need to get started. Scroll to the bottom of this page and locate the link Site Template. Then click on this link to download it. Once the file is downloaded, click it and then choose Show in Folder. The download will appear in the File Explorer, so double-click it to open. The downloaded compressed folder contains the starting files and folders we need, so select them all using the mouse or use the keyboard shortcut Ctrl-A, then copy the files with Ctrl-C. Locate your USB Web Server's root folder. Here, mine is on a USB drive labelled F, under the folder USB Web Server, then root. You're not going to put the files in this folder. Instead, we're going to make a folder specifically for the project you'll be working on during this course. To do this, click the right mouse button on the right hand side of the File Explorer and then choose New Folder from the menu that appears. Give the new folder the name Advanced Music, with no spaces. I've used camel case naming as you learned in the previous courses, where the first letter of each word is capitalized. It's not really a good idea to put spaces in the names of your web files or folders, because this can cause some weird problems later on. Camel case is used to make each word easier to read without the spaces. Now open up this new Advanced Music folder and then paste in the files you copied previously with Ctrl-V. That's all the files in place, so let's see if the site works. Open a new tab in Chrome and in the search bar type in localhost/advanced music. If the site doesn't load or comes up with an error, check your USB web server is running and you've typed the name of the web page correctly. The index page is exactly the same as the one on the internet, so let's take a look at the music page. It's not working. The warning on screen comes from the PHP statements in a file connect.php. It's telling us the database Advanced Music doesn't exist, and that's true. We should fix it. In Chrome, switch back to the tab containing the Advanced Website Demo and download the other file, Database Tables and Data. Show this download in its folder and take note of the file's location. Here it's in my Downloads folder, but yours may not be, so check the path at the top of the window. Bring up the USB Web Server window and click on the PHP My Admin button to open up PHP My Admin. Log in with the correct username and password. Remember, it's shown on the screen for USB Web Server. Next, create a new database by clicking the New button on the left-hand side of the window. Give the database a name of Advanced Music. Set the collation to UTF-8_general_CI. It's a long way down, so make sure you get the correct one. We'll talk more about collations later, but UTF-8 means we can save unusual letters that are not normally on your keyboard, such as emoji, into the database. And CI means case insensitive. The database doesn't care about capitals or small letters. As far as it's concerned, they're all the same. Once you've done this, click the Create button. The database is there, so now you need to import the data tables and the data I've provided. Click the Import button across the top of the window, and then click Choose File. Locate the advancedmusic.sql file that you just downloaded. SQL is often called SQL, so you may hear that term used instead. Scroll down to the bottom of the page and click the Go button to start the import. The SQL file you downloaded is actually just a collection of queries that creates the tables we need and then inserts data into those tables. When the import is finished, each query will be shown on screen with a green tick indicating it has completed successfully. Scroll down the page to see each query. some of which you may even recognize from the previous courses. If all the queries are executed correctly, you'll be able to expand the Advanced Music database and take a look at the data in the two new tables, songs and artists. You'll remember from the previous courses, you created a PHP file called connect.php. This file was used by your website to connect to your database. I've provided a copy of this file as well, but you'll need to make sure it's correct. So start up Visual Studio Code. I'll call this VS Code from here on out because I'm too lazy to keep saying Visual Studio. Go to the File menu, choose Open File, and then locate the connect.php file in your projects folder. I've already set it up with the correct database name and the usual server name, username, and password, but you may need to check your own settings as you've learned in the previous lessons. If everything is good, you can switch back to Chrome and refresh the music page on the local copy of the website. You should now get a listing of the songs in your database. Finally, you should check that you can add a new song to the database. So click the Add Music link in the navigation bar to open this page and fill in a song. Here, I'm inserting Foo Fighters' song, Learning to Fly. In the previous course, we avoided copyright problems on album covers by including placeholder images. You can add a placeholder image by typing in images, / album covers, and note the capital C on the word covers, another / and then the file name. There are 4 placeholder images, lc1.png, lc2.png, etc. They are all capital LCs, so again, watch the capitalization there. Give the song a rating. There are only 3 artists in our database, one of which is Foo Fighters, so choose that. The song's genre is alt rock, and I'm making up a price of $1. Click Submit Song when you're done, and then return to the music page to make sure the song has been added correctly. If it has, we know our site is working properly. If it's not working, check your connect.php and VS Code and make sure the settings are correct. The most likely culprit is the number at the end of the server name. You can find what this value is supposed to be by looking at the settings page of USB Web Server and matching it with the port MySQL setting. Make sure they're the same. Also check the correct spelling of the username and password and make sure the database names match. Because we used a case-insensitive collation when we created the database, you don't need to check the capitalization, just match the spelling. That's it for this video, so let's recap. In this video, you learned that the SQL in MySQL or in an SQL file is often pronounced SQL. You learned that a collation in MySQL sets what characters you can include in the database. A UTF collation allows you to save special characters such as emoji into the database. And CI collations are case insensitive. They don't care about capital or lowercase letters. This makes it easier to avoid typing mistakes later. Before moving on, make sure you have the website set up and the database working as shown in this video. In the next video, you'll see some tricks with using Visual Studio Code more efficiently. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk again in the next video.